All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to do a service today on the 722.9 transmission of my E350. Before I pull it in the garage, let me show you the setup here. So I like to set up a work table, especially on a project that requires a lot of organization. This project's not like hard, but you want to make sure you keep everything straight. So don't be intimidated in terms of feeling like you have to go to the dealer. You don't really need that many special tools, and I'll walk you through it. But it's definitely doable by a DIYer as long as you can follow instructions. So what I ordered from FCP Euro is the 722.9 upgrade kit. So what that comes with is obviously the gasket, but it comes with a new pan that's deeper. The reason why it's deeper, so it can lift up the smart media filter, the upgraded filter, higher to let more fluid underneath. That's what I understand from talking to some Mercedes techs. 100% it's not to hold more fluid. And also there's a lot of questions out there on, well, do you switch your fluid then? No, the early red fluid, which is the MB236.14, that is specific to the transmission, not the pan. So this is literally just to accommodate a more modern filter. That's it. However, if you're planning on selling the car, probably would be a good service for the next person to maybe put a label on here or something to let them know. Because if you're going under the car, one of the ways to identify what fluid you need is the pan. So my other pan I'll show you is the older generation. So anyways, I'll be upgrading to that. It's sort of a no-brainer. The kit without the pan, with like the original filter, the overflow tube, the bolts, etc., is like 160 bucks from FCP Euro. But for the upgrade kit, it's only like $60 more. So you get a whole pan out of it. So I would just do that. And with FCP Euro's lifetime warranty, you'll never have to pay for this service again. So you just exchange them and get your new one when you're ready, every 40,000 miles in this case. If you have the blue fluid, it's 70,000 miles. But it wouldn't hurt to do it at 40 anyway. So other than the kit from FCP Euro, which also includes these replacement aluminum bolts, you definitely want to replace these. They are, I guess, torque to yield, even though it's very little. So you go to, I believe it's 3 or 4 foot-pounds. I'll tell you in the video and I'll put it on the screen, but then you have to do an additional 180 degrees. And then I have an E10 socket for those. A special CTA adapter for the pan, which I'll show you when we get into that point. Let's see, I think we have a 6mm Allen for the original bolt that comes on the original pan. The new bolt is a sort of regular socket, so 17mm for that. And then I have a T30 for some of the brackets, some extensions. For the crankshaft, I have this 27mm socket and a long 1/2-inch bar, and I'll show you more when we get to that. A level is nice, lights are nice. You don't need a Milwaukee battery ratchet, just any ratchet. I try to stay in the same family, so like 3/8 in this case. I'll use adapters and everything just so I can stay in 3/8. If I need 1/2-inch, I'll do that, like I did for the breaker bar. But it just makes it easier when you're switching tools. Torque wrench. This torque wrench only goes down to 10 foot-pounds, and I need a little less than that, so I also have this smaller guy here. Light, if I didn't already say so. This is what a lot of people are intimidated about, is this and the scan tool, but let me talk through that a little bit. You can get these pretty inexpensive. This is an awesome kit for the money. This was, I think, $65 or $69 from Viver. Viver's a great brand, as many of you know. They offer pretty cost-effective parts and tools. But the nice thing about this is it's pneumatic, of course, so you would need an air compressor. But it comes with this. For $70, it comes with all the attachments for various transmissions. And the one here, the ATF 109, is the Mercedes one. Basically, you're just matching the M12 by 1.5 thread, and then the other end works with the hoses and stuff that come in here. So yeah, so you can make your own kind of kit as long as it's, you know, M12 by 1.5. Let it focus here. But you know, why not just get what you need for a little bit more money? Probably only saving like 40 bucks if you cobble something together on your own. And then I have an impact for, you don't need an impact again, just a ratchet's fine, but to take off the underbelly trays, some lights, rags, infrared thermometer. These are like $13 on Amazon. You do need either this or a scan tool. I wouldn't go buy a scan tool for this project. It's not necessary, but something like this to tell the temperature of the transmission is pretty critical. I like to have a pad sometimes to kneel on if I need to, magnetic tray for bolts, gloves, and in the description, I will link to the 2 tech data sources I used. This is from alldatadiy.com, which I have a membership for both of my cars that I work on. And this is a really nice article from FCP Euro that I'll also link to. So I think these 2 things, plus watching some videos, is really what I'm using to create this video for you all. Not all the videos were perfect, and some of them even had mistakes. So I'm trying to make this a sort of one-stop shop for you in terms of how to really do it. In addition, I have a clean bucket that I just bought and a drain pan with one of these oil catchers to catch splatter. I'm going to try to catch it in here and then just pour everything in there. All right, I'll move the car in and I'll start walking you through this process. All right, before I put the car on jacks, I want to show you how I'm ensuring that the car is level here. You can't just put a level on your car and when it's level, assume that that's level because it's a curved body, right? So you don't know where on the car is level. So what I did is I put the level on the concrete as a reference, and it was level. There's a slight slope to the front. So I found a spot on the car where that slope in the front is the same as it was on the ground. Now, when I make this car level with the jacks, it will be level. So I have a reference point. You don't need this once it's on the jacks and level, but this is just a good idea. If you have a driveway, it's likely level enough if it was poured correctly. But some of them have some, drainage slope, but probably not enough to make a difference. You just don't want to have it like raked up in the air or whatever. You just want to do your best to make sure it's level. All right, the car's on jacks, which in my opinion is the hardest part to get everything set up. Still level. I had to make a few adjustments to make it that way. And I like to also have the jack underneath as well. Let me show you where we at here. Yeah, right under the cross member. I've already removed the panels, so I have access to everything. Okay, starting in the front of the car, let me walk back and show you what I'm going to tackle first. So right here, oh, it's still hot. Right there is a bracket. I'm going to remove that first, and then I'll have access to the 6 pan bolts, and then I'll also drain the fluid right there. All right, so just to orient you, front of the car is this way, back of the car. Just going to remove this bracket before I start doing anything else. All right, I guess this is not a bracket, it's just a heat shield, I guess, to protect the plug. All right, the front of the car is that way. Let's see if we can get this out. Luckily, it's nice and deep, so I'm not too worried about stripping it. Now, I want to try really hard to not make a mess because I want to measure what I'm taking out. I know roughly what it should be based on the car and stuff, but what you want to do is take out what you can and then fill back up an extra liter. All right. Let that drain for a bit. It's pretty brown, should be red, so it's a good thing we're doing this. What you want to do next is and I'll show you this once the pan is down, but there's a overflow tube in there, and that's part of the leveling process later that I'll talk through, but you have to dislodge it to have the rest of the fluid come out. Now, if you run into problems at this stage, it's not like you can't go forward. You just continue to drop the pan. It's just you're going to have a whole lot more fluid in there to deal with. So let me show you how this works, and it's not complicated. You just either need a drift, a punch, all in this case, something, and you want to get under the lip and kind of, there we go, wedge it out. Now I'm getting rid of this pan and the overflow tube in exchange for the upgraded one, so I wasn't too worried about breaking anything. You would replace that overflow tube anyway, so don't worry about being a little aggressive. I'm going to start taking off these 6 E10 bolts that are holding the pan on. Trying to not put too much pressure on that remaining bolt, but I would like to have most of the fluid out before I drop it. All right. Okay. Luckily, I haven't spilled much, if any. It's all ending up in the pan. Okay. All right, hopefully you can see this okay. I'm just gonna pop off the filter so I can drain a little bit more here. Drop that in. All right. I'll let this drain for a while, and then I'm gonna check the torque converter as well. All right. Next up is to drain the torque converter if I have the option. So what I'll do is take off this rubber grommet. Now I'm up on top here with a 27mm socket and breaker bar, and I'm just going to slowly spin the engine over and see if I see anything. If you do pass it, you don't want to go back on the crankshaft. You want to go all the way around again, because it can mess up the timing belt tension. I think I see it coming. All right. All right, a little hard to see here, but I had to go grab a 4mm angle Allen head here, and I broke it loose. These have Loctite on them, so I think I already broke it loose, but let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera too. Yeah, okay, good. It's loose. I'm a little nervous, to be honest, about dropping it in there, but this is the direction of gravity, so if it's gonna fall this way, but I'm gonna have a magnet ready, and I'm gonna have to put you guys down for a quick set. All right, sorry guys, I couldn't bring you along as I was taking out that torque converter bolt. I was completely paranoid that I was gonna drop it. in that abyss over there and have it be stuck in the bell housing. So I had a magnet next to my Allen key and just carried it down together. But boy, is it making a mess. I'm capturing it all, but I'm trying to watch to make sure none of that wicks into that electrical connector. But gravity's in my favor. It's all going down. So once it slows down, I'll wipe that off. Boy, that was scary. I could see why some people just skip the torque converter out of fear of dropping that bolt in there. Some of the newer 722.9, that gap is pretty minimal. So I don't know. Glad I did it though. You should be able to get an extra 2 quarts or 2 liters out of it. So I'm going to let this drain now for a good hour and I'll be back. And the next step is I'm going to clean up everything down here and prep the new pan topside. And then we'll start the process of doing all the fill, which is what most people are interested in or worried about. All right, I don't know if you can hear me very well over the compressor, but the tool that I have can extract or dispense. So right now I set it to extract, and I'm basically taking everything I drained with just a random end piece here, just sitting in the fluid, and I'm gonna put it in here, and that's gonna tell me how much I took out. And that'll allow me to fill this up with fresh fluid of the same capacity plus a little bit more. So that's how I'm approaching that. All right, so here's what I was able to aspirate out of the catch pan. So this is the expected 5 liters from the pan and filter, plus what I've been told should be around 2 liters for the torque converter. So we're a little over 7, which is great. The FCP Euro kit for this car comes with 8 liters. So that's exactly what I'm going to fill it up with, and that'll allow me to drain off the excess to what is hopefully the right level. But I should be right in the right range there. Let me show you. So I aspirated out of that drain pan, and that's empty now, just sitting underneath catching little random drips. Let me take you to the old drain pan, show you what that looks like as it came out of the car. Now, if you weren't doing the pan upgrade, you would obviously want to clean up this pan, remove the seal, clean up the surfaces. I am going to commandeer the magnets there for my new pan because it didn't come with any. But I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. I mean, you're going to see some sediment on, or metallic sediment on the magnets. That's what they're for. But overall, it's pretty good. I'm not seeing like chunks of metal or anything like that. So if you don't know if your Mercedes takes the red or the blue transmission fluid, the blue is the newer version, the red is the older. You could look it up online and, you know, type your VIN number in and stuff. But a quick reference if you're under the car, if it has these shallow dimples, you take the red fluid. But you have to be careful because you could be dealing with a used car like mine where someone like myself is upgrading the pan. So it's best to put in your information in a VIN number lookup or call the dealer with your VIN number. But if you know that the car hasn't been upgraded or worked on for you, these smaller dimples are the red kind, and the bigger dimples is the newer blue kind. But again, just to be 100% clear, just because I'm upgrading the pan and the overflow tube to accommodate the new smart media filter, which will extend my life, that does not mean I change to the new style fluid. It's just that this bigger pan is accommodating the new filter. But my transmission takes the red fluid. So what I did under the car, when I took the drain bolt out, I was telling you that you have to pry out that overflow tube. Let me show you what that looks like here. So inside the transmission, when you fill it to, like, say the 5 liters or so, comes up, you know, to about here or whatever, you have to overfill it. And then when you run the car, run through the gears, and then open the valve underneath to drain out, what you're doing is you're looking for a steady flow of drain, implying that the fluid is above this overflow tube. If it wasn't, it might just be dribbling out a little bit. That means it's underfilled. So you want to, it's better to overfill by like a quart or a little bit more to be sure, because you'll watch it steady stream. And then when it starts dribbling, then you know that it went from overfill to perfect versus not knowing how down it was, right? So that's how I look at it. But The new pan has the green overflow tube, and that you want to use that since it comes with that pan. It's made for that. You can't use your old stuff now that I'm making this upgrade. Okay, so what I was saying before, under the car, you basically are trying to take a pick, a punch, whatever, and you're trying to get on this lip of that overflow tube and trying to sort of dislodge it, right? Let's see if I can do it. It also, you can just kind of leverage it out of the way, so you can see it's out of the way. Now, like that, you'll see it going bloop, 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 like kind of gushing out, but you really want to like push it out of the way. And like I said, under the car, if you can't do it, it's not the end of the world. You just drop the pan, but that's the process. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is reinstall the drain plug on the old pan. And the reason why I'm doing that, even though this is garbage, is I'm gonna use this as a parts washer for these items. I already kind of wiped out the pan here, and I'm just putting those components in there. Gonna spray a little brake clean. Ugh, start going to town. So especially the magnets, you really want to get those clean. Not the end of the world, but you want it to be as effective as possible, right? So here's what they look like, cleaned up. And I'll put that over by the new pan when I can prep that. And I think this job overall should probably take you, I don't know, a couple hours if you're just taking your time, stopping to look at instructions. It's probably an hour job, but I think I don't remember what the book time is now. It's on that paper. I'll link into the description, but I think it's under 2 hours. I'm probably spending 4 or 5 hours just because I'm taping, I'm stopping here and there. And ideally what you would do is let it drain overnight. You can also remove the valve body and get more fluid out. If you do decide to do that, I would be cautious, just that, you know, this is an 18-year-old car. You could break some of the electrical connectors and you might just make for a worse day, but you know, it's up to you. And there are other tools I should mention where you can actually flush the transmission. It's like one of those, it actually goes into the valve body and you use compressed air and it forces the fluid out of the valve body. I don't know, I don't have that. I think the tool was like 180 bucks. So unless you're doing this all the time, I don't know that it's worth it. So my E350 is a 2007. I think if you're working on like a 2010, 11, 12 maybe, I believe there's the pump where you saw my torque converter plug. There's a pump that you have to remove to access the torque converter. And it's not hard to remove. There's videos I'll link to that show that. But luckily on this one, it's pretty straightforward. You can also remove the transmission lines and literally flush new fluid through it while the car's running. I don't feel comfortable doing that, and I think for general service, people aren't doing that. But if you want to take it to another level or you're doing this professionally, you probably do that. All right, let's prep this new pan. So I don't have to prep in terms of clean or anything like that, but if you have your old pan, you're going to want to wipe the gasket surfaces, obviously. I have the magnets clean, so I'm going to put those roughly where they were on the other one. I think I'm going to put them right around there. And then this is the new overflow pipe. Goes right here, obviously. All right, let's get the overflow pipe on. You're going to want to push it on until it pops in like that. It's pretty obvious. You can't pull it up. It's on, pushed it all the way. There's no O-ring or anything. That's just how it works. And again, just to reiterate, new pan, you have to use the green overflow pipe. Old pan is white, sometimes black, I think. So that's that. And then we'll get the seal on. All right. Now I've seen people on other videos put like silicone on here, like a little something to lube it up. The tech data and the information online from Mercedes says to just put it on dry, but if you're a Mercedes tech out there, please chime in. I couldn't find anything objective that said to lube this up or put a little bit of ATF or whatever on it. So I'm going to put it on dry. Let's get back under the car and finish this up. All right, I'm pretty nervous about getting this torque converter drain bolt back in. It's little, it'll fall off, and if it lands in that wedge, I don't know what to do. I mean, I have an optical camera I could stick in there, but it's a tight fit, so I don't know what would happen if I drop that in there. So I'm going to take every precaution where that doesn't happen. One of which is using this magnetic device. I use this for like screwdrivers and stuff, but anything you run through the magnetic side, it will magnetize, and you can demagnetize as well. So I'm going to do that. You can see here, let's see. Boom, that works. I mean, it's not much, but it's better than nothing, right? So I'm trying to think what else I can do to make this not fall off. I was thinking about like heat shrink. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think what I could do to keep this from falling off. I thought about like taping it. All I need are a few threads, and then whatever I use to fasten it to this, I can rip it off, but I don't want to make it awkward either. So I don't know. I think I'm going to try some tape real quick. All right. That might actually help. Well, it's definitely not going to fall off. Yeah. All right, I'm going to try that. It's magnetized. It has a little bit of tape on here, so it's not going to fall off. And then once I get those threads going enough where I can pull this out and take the tape off. All right, let's see. I know you guys can't see this very well, but I'm more interested in making sure this works, so I'll let you know. Oh God, almost lost it. Whew, okay. Can't do it by hand because of the angle. It's really weird. This is scary, guys. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I'm pushing. I don't want to lose this thing. It's like so easy to cross thread too because it's at this weird angle. Hope you guys are rooting for me.
Bang, bang. There we go.
Oh, for one brief moment, I saw all the bolts silhouetted against the lights of the traffic, and then they were gone.
Oh, fuck.
That is scary. Luckily, this is a new bolt. I have the old one too, so I have a chance, but I don't know what happens, honestly, if this thing falls in this. Oh, I think I got it, guys. Yes. This alone is almost worth not draining the torque converter. I mean, I guess if you have a better tool or something. I thought about putting like rags in here, but it was a little harder than it might look. I'll give you the torque spec in a minute, or I'll tell you what, I'll just put it on the screen. You could see I didn't torque this, but it's impossible to get something to attach to my little Allen and then a torque wrench. So if I remember, it wasn't much, so I don't think it's that big a deal. I definitely erred on the tighter side, so it doesn't leak, obviously. But thanks for praying for me there. I think that helped. That was just too freaky to me. I mean, if it fell in here, I wouldn't even know what you can do. Another thing I left out of the video is actually pushing the smart media filter into its slot on the valve body. I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. So I'll insert a clip from another video that I've watched here so you can see it. But it's basically just popping it in. It's not hard.
Just push the plastic post up into the hole, and the far end of the filter kind of hangs down.
You can see I screwed in the adapter for the pump that we'll be using soon, and that's just hand tight because you're going to have to undo it without making a total mess. So just start these pan screws by hand. Obviously you don't want to strip anything. And you don't want these tight. The torque setting is very low. I'm going to go back around, obviously, and hand tighten it. All of these bolts and brackets are the same, at least in my car, except for that corner. So it's pretty hard to mess up because it's the one corner that has an electrical connection to cover with the plate. Right. It's looking pretty good. We are going to torque these to 3 foot-pounds. All right, let me make sure that they weren't already past that. All right. Okay, 3 foot-pounds on the side ones. Okay, and then we'll go in a star pattern from the corners. This torque wrench is kind of annoying because you can't really hear it, you more feel it. All right. Okay, now what you do is you go 180 degrees on each bolt. So you could use an angle torque wrench, or you can just use a reference. I mean, if these were head bolts, I'd be a little bit more paranoid. But but I think it's fine in this case. I'm gonna go 90 and then 90 because I don't want to mess up going up 180 degrees. So here's 90. And I heard these are pretty fragile and can snap, so just take your time. All right, there's 180. All right, I forgot to put that bracket on, that heat plate that covers the electrical, so I'm just gonna do that real quick. All right, what we're gonna do now is I filled 8 liters, all my new transmission fluid basically in the pump. I'm gonna hook up some shop air, purge the air and crap that it was old out of the line into the drain pan, and then I'm gonna go into the car and connect it, and I'll show you the fill process. If you haven't used one of these things, so I wrote ATF on here. I have other pumps and transfer devices, but I like to keep similar fluids. And the way I clean it out when I'm done is I drain it as much as I can. You can wipe it out. But as far as the lines, I like to purge the old fluid out. That way, at least it might have dirty fluid in it, but at least it's the same transmission fluid, not like a different make and model that was in there. So you want to make sure that the shop air is off right now. It's on at the compressor. So I'm going to turn this on, and you're going to make sure that this is on dispense, which is all the way clockwise. If you want to use this to extract, you would turn it the other way. All right, so let's turn shop air on. And then what I'll do is, I just want to purge the lines here. So let me just put that like that. And then, sorry for the shaky camera. And then when I squeeze this, it's gonna take all that air and crap out. So when I see new fluid here at the end, that's where I'm gonna stop. There we go. So now this line is purged with fresh fluid. Lost a little bit, of course, but not much. So now now I'll go connect this under the car. All right, I'm gonna put the drain pan underneath. So again, this adapter is hand tight, and then I will connect that. And the engine is off on the car. All right, now we'll go inside and do the procedure where you start the car and go through the gears. Keep in mind, I haven't put in all 8 liters. I want to be able to cycle some through the torque converter and then run it a little bit, and then I'll add the rest while it's running and getting up to temperature. So underneath the dash, this is your hood release, and right to the right of it is your door for your OBD2 sensor. I'm gonna plug in my Autel Bluetooth module. All right. All right, that beep means it's initialized with the Bluetooth module. I can just hit cancel. They always want you to update. Hit diagnostics. And underneath here, you'll see the, sorry, it was this button right here, auto detect. Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't think it's the scan tool. I think it's the fact that this car has an 18-year-old ECU, but it's slow, real slow. So I think it's just and this is a 2007, so as of 2006, left-hand steering. And you just confirm it's the right car, hit yes. So you hit diagnosis. Now, don't do auto scan. You want to go right to the transmission control unit, and that's under drive, or TCM, transmission control unit. And then you want to go live data, oil level check. This is all relative to the transmission, so that's transmission fluid check, basically. And then the oil temperature is 98 degrees right now. And basically I'm gonna click this and show graph, I think. Oh wait, show selected. So basically the only metric I'm looking at here is transmission temperature. So now I can start the car. And the nice thing about the Bluetooth is we can go underneath and watch this. Okay, so the car is running. I have the temperature being monitored. It's at 100 degrees right now, Fahrenheit. It needs to go to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. If you have a newer one, it's slightly different, but just make sure you're keeping an eye on this. And before I go underneath to check the level, what you want to do is let it warm up a little bit, like I'm doing, and then I'm going to cycle through the gears. So you basically want to start in park, go in reverse, and I can feel it engage, and you want to hold it there for maybe 5 seconds or so, and then neutral, and drive, neutral. This is just ensuring that all the fluid is going through the torque converter, because I drained that, and just getting into the system. Still at 104. And I know the data is the live data is working, because when I put it in reverse, it says reverse. So what I'm going to do now that I've done that is I'm going to fill the rest of the fluid while the car's running here. All right. So let's turn that on. We're almost full, and that'll coincide nicely with this getting to 113. I'm gonna cycle the gears one more time and then come down here and wait till it's 113 and then do the check. All right, just to show you, it's at 107, focus here, 109. So we're getting close. I want to show you what that is with a digital thermometer. So 100. So it's like 10 degrees off. So if you use one of these, just kind of keep that in mind. This is now saying 113. You got to leave the engine running and just get your drain bolt ready. Needs a little bit more, but I don't know if I have more to give it, so let's see. Ah, shit. Fuck. All right, it's the next day. So I was just a little short on fluid, and it was a Sunday. So I ordered some on Amazon overnight, and I'm gonna put the rest in. Just a little note, if you're using one of these pumps, even though the tube inside that feeds the fluid in, it nearly touches the bottom. So you pretty much get everything out. However, don't just rely on the exact liters or quarts that you need. Get like 1 or 2 extra so there's fluid to push out what you need. I was getting to the end and it was starting to aerate and, you know, pump in air-induced fluid, and it was just not enough. So I'd rather get another liter or 2 so I have fresh fluid pumping it in. So something to think about when you get your components. I'm going to start the car, run through the gears, and then let it get to temp, and then deliberately overfill this thing by about 1 liter. And then I'll do the overflow test and put in the drain bolt and torque it, and we should be done. All right. It's at 90, let's see, 93 degrees. So I still got about 10 degrees left. So what I'll do is add in that other amount. There we go. And what I'm doing is I just release the pressure on my transfer device. That way, when I unplug this, it won't have pressure in the line. So I have the regular drain plug and socket ready to go with the washer on it. When it hits 113, I'm gonna unplug that. It should definitely be overflowing. I mean, I put in an extra liter from before. And then that gives me some time to unscrew that and put the drain plug in. Now, even if it goes to a trickle and stops, that's okay. You just need to know how it started. You need to know that it was overfilled at the beginning. If you don't do it that way, it's hard to tell that what was in there was maybe just in the tube, in the fill tube. So that's why you want to see it be dumping out. Then you know it's to the point where it's at the fill tube, and that's it. I'm gonna go cycle through the gears one more time. kind of flashing between 111 and 113, so I'm gonna go for it here. But that's fine because it's actually coming out steady. Alright. Now, basically I'm gonna wait till it looks like there's a break in the stream. Just like that. Making a mess, but that's okay. I'm gonna turn off the car and tighten everything up, and I'll be right back. Yeah, you want to be careful. The exhaust is super hot. The other day I burnt myself. Burns suck, man. They really hurt. You want to torque this to 16 foot-pounds. See if I can get a hold of it over here. All right, ended up at 17.8, but that's fine. Give it one more wipe down. What I would suggest doing next is don't put all the underbelly trays on. Take it for a drive, go through the gears, come back, take a good look underneath with your flashlight and make sure there's no leaks. Maybe even leave the covers off for a day, which is probably what I'll do, and then wrap this thing up. Sorry for the wind noise. I want to be able to hear if there's anything wrong outside. So far, so good. Pulling over here real quick, and I'm going to do a 0 to 30 or so and just kind of see how it shifts under hard acceleration. I'm going to put it in sport just to see. This car is not fast, but I just want to see how it shifts. All right, that was great. Put it back in comfort mode, and I'm going to go down a steep hill to see what that's like in terms of downshifting on its own. I think I'll roll the windows up here, get you some better audio. So it ended up taking about 7.5 liters, which is about right. I did drain the torque converter as well, so some of the newer ones take even more, so just make sure you check your VIN number, your specs. Could be closer to 9 or 10. All right, guys, well, I think that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me on this one, and see you for the next repair.